friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. Today we're going to look at a modern anime masterpiece. I know a lot of other YouTubers have gotten to it long before I have, but I can't call myself a fan of anime and not talk about this series, Made in Abyss. Made in Abyss is one of the most unique anime stories to surface in a long time. And it's one of those that will pull you in very quickly. When I was introduced to this show, I was just watching YouTubers who review anime I like, and this show came up, and everyone was raving about it. And usually, when people hype up a show that much, that probably means it's not as good as you think it is. No, this one lives up to the hype. 100% lives up to the hype. It's a beautiful story. It's an intriguing story. There is sadness, there is levity, there's moments of greatness, there's learning. It's got all the elements of a good anime. So this is actually one that, even though everybody and their mother has recommended it, they're not lying. You should definitely check it out. So let's dive in to the Abyss. Made in Abyss follows two young characters. Riko, our main character, who is the daughter of one of the cave explorers or abyss explorers in this universe. She has grown up in a world where she lives in a city that is at the top of this giant pit in the earth, and it's called Abyss, not the Abyss. Abyss. It has a name. That's very important because the giant hole in the ground is just as big a character as everyone else. What has been discovered in this world is that the Abyss, or Abyss, holds great mysteries and treasures from the past. And if you can brave diving down and getting them and somehow manage to make it back up to the surface, then one can become very wealthy and very well respected, because Abyss not only holds treasures but untold dangers as well. You can't get to the gifts Abyss offers without risking your life, not just in the landscape that's always changing and is abnormal to what humans are used to, but also in the pressurization. The further down you go into Abyss, the less likely a chance you can make it back up to the top into the normal world. There's like some change in how gravity pulls on your body. It's the change in pressure on your lungs. And there's a few levels you can go down and make it back up. But once you hit a couple of levels lower, you're not going to make it back. It's a commitment. It's a life commitment. And even for some of those levels where you could make it back, you might make it back and die because your body just can't take the change in pressure. But the Abyss calls to people. It's almost on a level of worship. And we see that in this town where Riko is growing up. She is living in an orphanage, but she's not really an orphan. Her mother is one of these cave explorers, and she's at the top of the pack. She's what you call a white whistle. And the whistles are literal whistles, but they're crafted for the explorer themselves. And when they blow on those whistles, special things happen. It's the best I can explain that. But that just identifies, hey, these are the creme de la creme. And there's different colors of whistle for where you are in your training to be able to explore Abyss. That's how seriously this town takes their cave diving. Well, Riko's in an orphanage, and all of the kids in this orphanage basically have lost their parents to Abyss. But Riko's mother went down into Abyss when she was pregnant, heavily pregnant with her, and actually gave birth to the baby somewhere down below. But if it's hard for an adult to survive down there, it's even harder for a child. Little spoiler warning, Riko's born in the Abyss. But the circumstances of her birth, I'm not going to give you all of them, but they give her more of a connection than is normal. And the connection to Abyss is already abnormal, so that should say a lot. But her mother gets the baby back up to the surface, leaves her with relatives to be raised, and then proceeds to go back into Abyss, down to the levels where she can't ascend again on purpose. Now, typically, when you start a show like this and the kids don't have their parents, the kids are sad. Not Riko. She's all about this cave life. When she gets older and is old enough to get her red whistle, which means she has started the process of becoming an explorer, well, then that means she can go find her mom. And this particular orphanage takes in children of whistles who have been lost and trains them up. That's mind boggling. Like, you know that this thing took all of their parents, and you're going to train them to go down there knowing they'll probably die down there too? That is the pull of Abyss. Now, one day, Riko and her friends at the orphanage discover a relic, an artifact that's very unusual to come out of the Abyss. It's a boy. It's a mechanical boy who has no memory, but he looks human enough that he could pass for an orphan. So they get him set up to be one of the orphans. But his appearance for Riko means, whoa, 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 whoa. With the way your body is, all, stretchy, metallic, and special, there's a good chance you came from the bottom. And there's a good chance you can get me to the bottom. Kid's gonna do what kid's gonna do. Let's run away. And that's what they do. Long story short, Riko's mother manages to send her whistle up to the top, back to the opening of Abyss, to the town. And remember, this town sits at the crest of this opening, just completely surrounding it. So no matter where you are, you're always looking down. And the reason being is at any moment, a white whistle or the other whistles could send up a relic or an artifact by different means, or one of them could arrive. You never know when they're going to be back, because Abyss is its own special world, and you have to always be watching. Well, her mother sends up her own white whistle. And that's all the motivation Riko needs. So now she has her mom's whistle. She has a mechanical boy who can probably navigate down there better than anyone. The call of Abyss was already in her. And she's in cave diving school. Run away, run away. That's what you do. And they run away. And they run away down into the Abyss. Now, here's the thing. Kids who are in training aren't supposed to just go wandering. They're only allowed in the first level to do like minor artifact digging, face the very mundane creatures, that type, because they're children. They're in training. And when children go missing, they send people after them, as you do. So she knows this. Riko knows that they're going to be hunted down. And until they get to a certain level below where the hunting will stop, because the risk of death is too great, until they get further down, she knows that they're going to be hunted. And here's what's crazy. Her instructor at the school, who is part of this hunting party to go search for them, actually hopes he doesn't find her so that she can achieve her goal, yet and still doesn't show any mercy in the hunt. They're having to duck, dodge, swing from trees, cover their tracks, take new paths, because obviously the adults know the world better than they do. But Riko and Reg make it. They make it far enough below that they know the search for them has been called off. And then they start the adventure of trying to get to the bottom of Abyss. Now, Abyss is many layers deep. And we said before, the further down you go in Abyss, the less likely your chance of coming back alive. So this little girl, who of course wants to see her mother, is potentially choosing to end her life for this adventure. But she has to know. Who wouldn't want to know? Ooh, that was a hiccup. If I was in Rico's position, and I knew there was a chance of seeing my parents again after spending, all of my youth without them, I'd take the risk. Why not take the risk? And there's been a lot of comparisons of this anime to Dante's Inferno. If you don't know the story of Dante's Inferno, it's about an adventurer whose bride is kidnapped and taken to the lower levels of hell and has to descend into the different levels of hell to find his bride. You go through the different hells and the sins they represent and fighting your way through. And this is kind of like that. Every level you go down, it decreases your chances of getting out. The difference being is there's an exit from hell. There's not an exit from abyss. If you get down, I want to say it's like the 7th or 8th level. Once you get down that far, you're not coming back. You can't. Your body will not be able to take it. If you try to rise up, you're done. And the further down they go, the stranger the world gets. There's a level where all the trees are upside down, and there are these multi-armed ape-like creatures living in the trees. There's a level that almost looks like a beautiful meadow, but there's acidic water there. It's just all kinds of strange things that they encounter on this journey. And they come across other white whistles who permanently live below, and red whistles like themselves in training who live down below. They meet characters who knew Rico's mom and give her information on how long it's going to take her to find her mom, if she's able to find her mom. But you know what? I think the illustration of this story is to highlight that when you have a desire and it's overwhelming, you're going to be compelled to follow it. And we don't always understand the dreams people have. Because think about this dream she has. Probably certain death, injury, starvation, no way to get back home, being alone. All of that's in front of her, yet she's still determined. How often do people have dreams of, becoming a star, a top business person, starting their own small business, being a great chef, whatever it is. And people are told, get your head out of the clouds. Stop thinking that way. It's never going to happen. Which makes no sense, because when people are children, when we're kids, we're all told to reach for the stars and go for your dreams, and anything is possible. And then long about 16, 17, 18 years old, we're told, get your head out of the clouds, put your feet on the ground, be practical. Well, which is it? Do you want me to be practical, or do you want me to reach for my dreams? Because she's growing up being trained to do this. So what did they think she was going to do? It's kind of the school's fault for giving her the skills to get down there. It's totally their fault for giving her the skills to get down there. And not only that, but she's taking someone with her who apparently came from the bottom of Abyss, and we don't know if he wants to go back there. He doesn't know if he wants to go back because he has no memories. Layers, man. Layers. But that's good storytelling. The characters are so compelling and the world is so interesting that you are just sucked in immediately. I watched this show in one day. I believe it's 12 episodes. They're all around the 30-ish minute mark. I was done in a day. I got to episode 2 and I was like, oh, well, can't stop watching now. I gotta see how it ends. And there is a season 2 and there's a movie. I just haven't found a place where I can watch it yet. When I do find a place to watch it, I'm going to be very happy. I watched season 1 on Amazon Prime, so which tells me that once, copyright, time, all that goes by, that it'll probably show up on Prime eventually. And when it does, I can't wait to see it. The only thing that I'm scared of is sometimes when shows are this good, their second seasons fall short. I'm looking at you, Promise Neverland. Um, you know, I hope that they're able to keep this momentum. The second season's already out. It's just not out where I can see it. So I'm excited to see this adventure continue and see where our characters end up. I hope I didn't spoil too much. I hope that you're just interested enough to go watch it. You know, I don't mind a spoiler video, but everything doesn't have to be a spoiler video. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting everyone interested so that we all have another great show to talk about. Speaking of talking about it, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's talk about it down below in the comments.